Tonight, a young girl and her father injured when a World War II shell explodes in their Port Stephens home.
A workshop fire threatens the service station on the mid-north coast.
That's really dangerous, is it not?
Could Australia have a new public holiday? The Prime Minister's proposal to celebrate Indigenous culture.
And D-Day for Billy Slater as he learns whether he'll play in this year's NRL Grand Final.
This is NBN News with Natasha Beyersdorf and Lobb.
Good evening. A young girl and her father are recovering in hospital tonight, injured when a bomb exploded in their backyard at Anna Bay in Port Stephens.
The Defence Force was called in and neighbours prepared to evacuate after the World War II relic left the pair with shrapnel wounds.
Someone must have been watching over little last night. A comforting tickle as the 4-year-old is wheeled into hospital. Shrapnel still lodged inside her leg.
She's very lucky she's alive, so that's the main thing.
Her father Ryan on the next stretcher, anguished and in agony after bringing home the World War II weapon that exploded, injuring his only child.
Well, it sounded like a really big gunshot.
The 37-year-old widower had found the old military bomb while fossicking at nearby Berrubi Beach. Police are investigating if a sparkler was held to the projectile, causing it to blow apart in the backyard and hit Angel.
She's got shrapnel wounds to her leg and hip.
Amid fears of another blast, Mortar Point Road was shut down as the bomb squad and army specialists moved in. It was 2 hours before locals could rest easy and the ammunition was taken away. As pretty as it looks, Berrubi Beach is a former military zone. These sand dunes were used for bombing practice by Australian and American troops who left behind tens of thousands of hidden dangers.
Seeing these items at the beach in the first place would be enough for me not to go anywhere near it, let alone pick them up and bring them home.
A mistake that could see the father charged.
They'd be worried sick about this little girl.
Tiffany Genders, NBN News.
Fire has come within metres of a petrol station on the mid-north coast after engulfing a neighbouring business. The Kempsey panel beaters went up in flames this morning, the fire breaking out while one worker was inside.
Tearing through a Kempsey panel beaters, a fire now on a direct and potentially explosive path.
That's really dangerous, is it not? It's really dangerous.
Flames marching towards a petrol station just metres away. With smoke visible for kilometres, firefighters from Kempsey, Maxville and Port Macquarie raced to the scene.
The crews from Kempsey got to work very quickly and contain that fire and stop it from spreading to adjoining buildings. The railway line at the rear of this building was closed down for a short period.
The immediate danger may have passed, but the reality of the situation was only just sinking in. One of the employees was inside the shed working on a camper van when the blaze ignited. He escaped unharmed, later consoling the owner of the business. The job far from over for emergency services, police setting up an exclusion zone with hazmat crews also called in.
This was a panel beating shop, so we have all sorts of chemicals and flammable liquids inside.
As for the cause, that's yet to be determined, but is now the focus of a police investigation. The property was uninsured. Jessica Nagel, NBN News.
The Prime Minister has floated the idea of having a new day to celebrate Indigenous Australians, rejecting calls to move Australia Day. But don't expect an extra day off. It won't be a public holiday. The proposal coming as Scott Morrison hit back at the latest council to abandon celebrating January 26.
If you want to make a mark, pick a highly visible target.
I just don't know why people have to always bring Australia down.
Scott Morrison has waded into the emotion-charged brawl over the date of Australia Day, lashing the latest council to shift celebrations from January 26, citing Indigenous anguish at dispossession.
We hold the events and acknowledge what it is to be Australian on a day which causes pain.
I don't think engaging in this sort of indulgent self-loathing, is how I described it, actually makes our country stronger.
The government stripped Byron Council's right to conduct citizenship ceremonies, and the sharp divide in this debate can be measured just 100 kilometres up the coast.
I don't know, when you go south of the border, you have less IQs.
The Prime Minister says he wants Australians to talk about marking another date on the calendar,
where we could particularly focus on the achievements and the success of our Indigenous people.
But it wouldn't be a public holiday.
We can't have a conversation based on a thought bubble in the media.
Scott Morrison is determined to drive the news, but the date debate did overshadow another set of numbers.
This is the smallest deficit in a decade.
With the books now closed on the last financial year, the budget deficit is a tick over $19 billion better than expected, mostly because a growing economy has delivered higher tax receipts.
More revenue on the back of stronger growth.
But with an election looming, one expert fears an auction by both parties.
Trying to get close to the voters, most of that will cost money and will be weighing on the budget.
And Scott Morrison will make it a race for hearts and minds as well as wallets. Chris Ullman, NBN News.
He's accused of indecently assaulting his female passenger, but today an Uber driver protested his innocence both inside and outside of court. The case came on the same day the ride-sharing app launched new safety features aimed at protecting both drivers and passengers.
52-year-old Mukesh Nakir insists he did nothing wrong.
I'm a decent man, a hard-working man. I lived in this country for the last 30 years.
The Uber driver faced Picton Court today, accused of assault. Police allege he attacked a 23-year-old passenger during a ride from Ambervale earlier this month, placing his hands in inappropriate places.
I've lost my job right now. My family is in distress. I've got a wife and I've got 2 children.
Mukesh has pleaded not guilty. His bail conditions prevent him from doing any rideshare driving while the case is being heard. He now has no income and mounting legal bills.
Uber, they don't talk to me. They don't talk to me at all. They just lock me off.
From today, Uber is introducing new safety features designed to protect both drivers and passengers. Using the emergency assistance feature, you can dial 000 during a ride. You'll also be able to share your progress with loved ones.
That could be good. Yeah.
Gabrielle Boyle, NBN News.
One of New South Wales' longest-running court cases could finally be resolved next week. Joe Anthony Fennick is charged with 3 counts of dangerous driving occasioning death over a crash at Lake Macquarie which claimed 3 lives in 2010, but he's never faced trial.
7 years, 9 months and 21 days ago, 3 families were torn apart, allegedly by this man, Joe Anthony Fennick. Today, those family members told of their grief, heartache and frustration.
Yeah, it's certainly a mess to have taken this long to get through.
It began on December 4, 2010, when Fennick crashed his Holden Commodore on Freeman's Drive at Morisset, killing 3 passengers, brothers Ben and Luke Ramsey and Rodney Field. Fennick has never stood trial, having been found unfit on 2 separate occasions, with the Mental Health Review Tribunal recently ruling he's unlikely to become fit within the next year. During her victim impact statement today, Luke Ramsey's sister Ashley broke down as she told the court how, "My life hasn't been the same. I lost myself when I lost my brothers." Rodney Field's wife, Raylene, described how the entire ordeal has caused her considerable pain. It's like reliving it over and over again. Throughout each victim impact statement, Fennick sat emotionless.
It's really difficult, but it needed to be said.
The case, which is one of the longest running in New South Wales, may finally conclude next week, with a ruling expected to be handed down on Tuesday.
We always think it's going to be the end of it, but it's not. So it's hard to be hopeful.
Sam Burbury, NBN News.
A Glendale home full of loose-fill asbestos has been knocked down. Contractors began demolition works at around 8 a.m, covering the property in airtight plastic sheeting. The work is part of the state government's asbestos buyback program. Of the more than 7,000 Hunter residents who've registered to have their homes tested for asbestos, the Glendale property is the only one to test positive.
Bus drivers on the Central Coast have decided to postpone peak hour strikes planned for tomorrow. The move follows an intense meeting at Fair Work Commission today over ongoing negotiations for a new enterprise agreement with Busways Management.
There will be less stress for parents tomorrow morning. School bus services will no longer be cancelled for the day. Buses from both Wyong and Gosford depots will now run as normal.
Because of the assistance from the Fair Work Commission and their involvement today, Busways have finally agreed to sit down and have further discussions tomorrow. So therefore there will be no disruptions tomorrow. We've withdrawn that.
The Busways contract dispute has been an ongoing saga since November. Members of the Transport Workers Union taking out protection action over recent weeks as they're trying to seek better pay and superannuation benefits.
Some of it's actually just been asked to be paid accordingly for work that they already do. So it's quite a moderate claim that they've been requesting. On the other hand, Busways have been seeking to have the current agreement downgraded.
Thursday's stop work meetings are still on the cards.